Hello and welcome back. Today I will tell you the story of Lupe, a 16-year-old girl who calls herself a weird person, loves video games, and has some small problems to adapt to her surroundings, even after she moved. Even finding friends looks like a possible task to her. But things seem to look up when she meets Lena, another new girl at her school. But when one night she literally falls into a new world where magic is real and she gets rescued by a witch with a very familiar face, she will find out how normal she really is. Will this change her life? And more important, will she find a way back? You have to find out in 4 Leaf. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Short Comic Introductions. Today I want to talk a little bit about 4 Leaf by Lumaga, and this is the first time I talk about a comic I haven't visited or haven't seen directly. This is a comic I found out through Detour. What I mean with this one, a few weeks ago I was browsing some comic lists on Twitter and Tapas, and there was one I saw called My Tenchi Life. This comic, at first I wasn't sure if this is something I might enjoy, but one thing I really liked about this one was the art style, and this was the reason why I checked it out. And I'm honest, that's not a bad comic. I already have recommended it on Twitter, and really I would check it out. I think it's again it's a story that it's not for everyone, but it really has a lot of potential in there. So while going through it, there were some advertisements to other stories, and one said specific that this is the comic from the artist of My Tenchi Life, Lumaga. And yeah, like I said, that comic I really enjoyed the art, so I for me it was a no-brainer to check that one out. And now I should mention, when I clicked on it, I haven't checked out about what this comic is or what's happening in there, what kind of characters are in there. I just started reading it, and when it started, I'm honest with you, I didn't know if this is a comic I will continue, because the first chapter, or most of the first chapter, looks mostly like some kind of slice of life storyline, and I'm not a fan of this kind of genre on stories. I'm not saying they are bad. I don't get the full enjoyment out of them. To be honest, it's a genre I try to keep away, and even if I don't want to talk about them, because in my eyes it's not fair to talk about something you don't like. It's mostly because even if there are a lot of people out there who like this, and just to talk smack about something because you don't like it, it's not my style. I mostly just like to talk about things I really enjoy. So yeah, again, it started this way, and we are talking about it now, so something must have changed. And yes, there was something big that changed my opinion about this one. And this was a scene between pages 17 and 24. Now, I'm normally not talking about specific parts of the stories of the comics because I don't want to spoil them. In this case, I have to change that. I will talk about them, but at the very end of this video there will be a special spoiler section because I have to talk about this specific scene. The reason is, I personally think that is one of the best scenes I have seen for quite some time. It's one of my favorites out there from media, and it's really amazing from the setup, from the way it's paced. It's freaking amazing, and this was the reason why I changed my mind and I wanted to continue reading this one. And like I said, I will talk a little bit about at the end. But yeah, now shortly after that scene, the whole story changed completely, from going from a more slice of life series to the more fantasy style that it's announced and it's everywhere talked about. Like I said, I just jumped right into it. I haven't read anything about it, so for me it was kind of surprising, but not in a bad way. But like I said, I'm happy I continued after page 12, where I really thought, will I continue or not? And yeah, this is it's a fantasy story, and I have to say it's a very interesting and unique take on doing a fantasy setup in so many ways. And I have to say, Lumaga does a really great job with it. Now, our character literally falls into this new world. It's not really clear. Is this a kind of dream world? Is this kind of it starts like a dream, but is this more something, a dimension thing? But like I said, it's a very interesting take on it. And when I say that, I mean what Lumaga does here. She takes your everyday world, meaning it's at first sight it doesn't look any different than the normal world. Everything from the buildings through the outfits, or mostly the outfits, and everything, how everything works, is very similar. So when our character Lupe falls into this world, it's not like she looks out of place there. She looks like she belongs there, and this is something I really enjoy, when the characters belong there. I think the other one, looking out of place, is a little bit how to put it, overused. So I'm always happy seeing this one. And yeah, but we really shortly after we see there's things like magic. There's stuff called gloom. That's some kind of evil stuff in way. We see there are witches that kind of look like magical girls, but are more the evil version of there. There are a lot of fairy tale stuff put in there. Or let's put it this way: Lumaga tells kind of a fairy tale story and uses a lot of well-known parts of fairy tale stories, but she only took the right parts out of there, that when you start reading it, you have this feeling you have seen and heard this before, but she forms it in a way that it's a very unique take on it. So it is kind of a fairy tale story from your well-known ones, but it's something completely different. It's hard to explain, but let's say this way: when you start reading it, you have this feeling you have seen this Red Riding Hood's kind of story already, or you have this feeling this is kind of like the Wizard of Oz, and so on. But it's not a copy. It's really she just knows the right parts to take out of it, and to give you the impression you know what it is, but it's not what you think it is. It's amazing, and I think the way the story is working is really great. She's trying to create some kind of road trip storyline, and I think with this world and the way that our main character tries to get out of it, it really works great, and it's. I never had the feeling that she tries to tell something that's out of place. It always feels that it always feels right. Let's put it this way. And I haven't encountered a part of the story yet that just feels like it's just there to be there. She has a really great flow to tell the story. Let's put it this way. It's really, really interesting. I love this more quiet take on it. There are more actiony scenes in there, but mostly it's a very quiet kind of story, and I really enjoy them. It's really fantastic, and this brings us to the characters. I have to say, Lupe and Lena are became two of my favorite characters. The banter between these two, the way they talk between each other, the characteristics of each other, they are so different, but they work so fantastic into each other. It's always fun to see them on the pages, alone or together. Now, Lupe, like I said, is our main heroine who falls into this world, and Lena is one of these witches where I said they are more like your evil your evil magical girl kind of character. We know only that from the way Lena told us what witches are in these worlds, and the way she is. At first glance, she is more this character, this more childish character who is always happy, but with an instant, she can be very scary, and I once said to Lumaga I think it was a Twitter feed or on one of under her pages, I said she reminds me of the girl from Ring, but with the exception that she has also her cuteness on her side. So I would say she's a character who will kill you if you don't look after yourself and or cross her way in many ways. She can really get scary, and I really enjoy how Lumaga is writing Lena in this case. These very quick changes. It's really amazing. Again, it never feels like it's she just writes it now that to show it off. It always works out. It's really great, and there are some very, very dark scenes in there that really show off that even if it's partially very cutesy in many ways, that the story can get really, really dark. And again, coming back to the first part where I said that one of these one particular scene brought me to continue reading this comic, this is a very sad and dark scene. It's really it's amazing how she is writing the story without losing the beat. I know it's hard to change between sad and funny parts or darker parts, but here we have a very, very great really great or let's say it this way, if you want to see how it's done right, to give it to go in one straight direction without losing it, without cutting something that it looks like this is a cut in there that we have to change the direction. Four Leaf is one of these great examples for that. The way the writing of this story is, it's amazing. But not only the story is really fantastic and the characters are fantastic. One other thing that really is great, and this is what brought me to this comic, is the art style. It's This one is really hard. Normally I'm really more for the more realistic kind of art styles, or the more very detailed ones, or very sharp ones. She has more comical design to it, so meaning the proportions of the characters are more comical, but the rest of the world is a little bit more realistic, and she uses a lot of bright and soft colors. And when you hear this normally, you think, yeah, this is something that wouldn't work with a more darker scenario and so on. And here you would be wrong. Not only the art style, but also the coloring is really great and fascinating. There are very, when these very dark pages come out, and how they come out. There's one scene with Lena where she's trying to convince another character in a way. This scene is absolutely dark, and the colors are getting dark. There's a lot of black in it. You see the very glowing eyes of her, and seeing this one, the motion of these pages, and seeing how all these bright and partially soft colors work with the very dark and hard colors, how she mixes them. It's really really fascinating seeing this one. Also seeing this one with this comical style, seeing this character getting all evil in so many ways. It's something really I haven't seen in this combination. Yes, I have seen cute characters getting evil and something like that, but seeing this all work hand in hand with the backdrops, with the coloring, with the details, with the flow, you don't see that often. It's a really fascinating thing, and it's also fascinating that when you see some more of the more quieter and relaxing pages where nothing is going on, you always are drawn to the details in the background, to characters in the background. You see them; they are there. They aren't in your, they aren't focused in there, but you automatically look at them. You see everything what's going on. It's hard to describe, but when you just look at some of the pages I've put in the intro, and you see what I mean. You look at them, you see the main character when there is one, or you see one of the characters there, but you focus on everything that's around them. You see everything. It's not that you're overwhelmed with too many details, but you get everything. You get everything out of the pages. You see everything. You get everything. How the let's say you know what weather it is. You know what kind of maybe what daytime it is. You see what's going on. You are drawn to every detail in so many ways, without, like I said, without getting overwhelmed, and that's really amazing. I haven't seen something like this. This is one of the really rare examples where I have to say it's fascinating. Even if you're not a fan of these kind of stories, I would say at least try it out. It's hard to describe, but when you see the first pages, you know what I mean. It's for me, Four Leaf is one of these very rare occasions where I say, this is more than a comic. This is already really great art. Without you can see this, you can see these pages, you can see panels of this comic, and just say this is just once, or just done for a picture or something like that. This is one of the really fascinating comics I have ever read to this time, and it is it's really becoming one of my favorites out there, and this is one I highly recommend checking out in so many ways. And if you do, please support Lumaga in any way you can. She has so many ways you can do it, through voting, to shoutouts, to tips, to Patreon, to coffee. Do it, please do it. It would be really a shame if this comic stops, and if she might stop someday. It's really, she's really a great artist out there, and she is an amazing person. I had contact with her already, and really, it's please support her in any way you can, and definitely check this comic out. I really highly recommend this one. So thanks for watching, and goodbye. And if you want to know what's up with these few scenes, watch at the end. Then I will tell you a little bit more. So for the rest, bye, and thank you for watching. So, and we're back. So, if you watch this, this means you want to be spoiled. Again, I really hope you have read this comic, because this scene, like I said, is one of my favorites, and it would be sad if this doesn't work the way it's intended. But like I said, pages 70 to 24 are such amazing work in many ways, and they begin like. They don't begin in this way, because the comic begins in this way, that we see Lupe and on her daily basis when she goes to school, and before we come to that, we see how she meets Lena, and how they interact with each other. It's just a very short parrot, but I think it's very nice to see that these two persons, or these two girls in this case, just come together. This great. Then we come to these pages 17 to 24. Now they begin with Lupe in front of her house, saying goodbye to Lena, and she enters it. She works on her, I think her homework or something else at this moment. I have to check it out. I don't know what it is. And her mother comes in, and you already get this feeling that these two don't get along that great, and they try to eat, and then her mother suddenly says that Lupe should visit the psychologist again. And this is already something that's coming out of nowhere, but it makes sense for the way everything begins, and if you think about it, how this comic is advertised at the beginning. And then there falls one sentence that makes this already great. Her mother says something about an invisible friend or imaginary friend, and in this case you get this idea, but you just going from the build up to the scene, you're saying no, this can't be that Lena is in this case is an imaginary friend. That it's the way everything works. But you think about it, when you see the other the pictures where we see we see these two girls, we only see them two together. We don't see any other characters. So on one hand you don't want to believe this, but on the other hand, there is something telling you there is something going on here. And then we see Lupe going into her bedroom, sitting on her bed and looking very depressed, very sad. And already, like I said, the scene is done amazingly with the colors and everything. The feel is you really feel with her. She is down in this case. Then she starts talking. Then we see the bed a little bit more. She's on the, I think she's on the left, and on the right side is sitting Lena. And this is like a punch in the guts, and even more when you see when they talk with each other, and when Leah says she thinks she has to go now, and they say goodbye, and Lupe is sitting alone on her bed. This scene is done so amazingly. I know many people will say, yeah, there are better scenes out there. Yes, there might be better scenes out there, but this scene is done in such an amazing way. Like I said, beginning from the build-up, beginning from the whole atmosphere in there, to the way these two characters at the end talk with each other, how they say goodbye. It's not this. It's not the way you normally see in the mainstream media when these scenes happening. It's short, but it's amazingly. It works in so many ways. This is done. Like I said, I'm praising this scene a lot, and I'm really standing by it. It's really, really great, and in this case, just seeing how this turns out in so few pages, and how it's written, and how gut-punching it works, I think Lumaga has such a talent to surprise us with so many things in a story that I just have to read it. Even if I didn't like anything, which isn't the case. Like I said, I really love this comic in so many ways. I would read it just to find out how she will tackle some themes. There is so much that can be done, and knowing she can pull off such a scene, you only can wonder what she is capable of. And this is what I'm looking forward to. I want to know how this story continues, and how she will surprise us, how this story, what will happen in the story, just because of these few pages. Like I said, I'm standing to it. This is one of my absolute favorite scenes out there. I have some. It is in my top 5. Don't be fooled. This is amazingly good. And going from the way how the rest of the comic is with its flow, like I said, I believe we will see a lot more like this, and there will be a lot more we don't really expect seeing coming. Even if the scene some people might have seen it coming, I personally think even if you have seen it coming, it's done amazingly. I haven't seen it coming, I will admit that. I was surprised, and it worked, and so it worked for me. So yeah, really, really amazing page, and really hoping to see more of this one. And like I said, please support this artist. She really needs every help she can get, and please, there are so many ways to support her. Support Lumaga in every way, even if it's just a shout out, even if it's just sharing her work. Please do it. She deserves every attention she can get. So, thanks for watching, and goodbye.